Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Yay. Happy Wednesday.
We are so happy to have you here with us today. In case you are new around here, I am Hillary Buchholz, and I'm here with, right below me, Patty Quinn.
Hello, everybody.
And we are the co-founders of We Heart Hounds, and we are so excited because we also have some very special guests with us here today.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so much fun. We have with us Jim and Birgit Walker. They are not only huge lovers of dogs and expert dog trainers, but they have gone on numerous adventures with their pups cross country, and they get to talk to us today about all kinds of tips for traveling with our dogs. So we're so happy to have you with us today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. It's quite exciting.
Yeah, we're excited to be here.
Yeah, this will be fun.
So as Patty mentioned, you guys go on all kinds of adventures with your dogs, and you also have a wonderful book, Keep Your Paws on the Road, that kind of gives some real practical advice about traveling with your dogs. So if you could tell us a little bit about,
there's the book.
If you could tell us a little bit about your book, I would love to get a little bit of the behind the scenes action from it.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start. The book, we started writing it about 3 years ago. We were traveling with our dogs in Montana, and Jim has been a dog trainer for all his professional life. And we noticed how a lot of people were talking to us about, hey, you got your dogs with you, and we wish we could travel with our dogs, but my dog doesn't like it, or he does this, or he does that.
Right.
So on our way back from Montana, Jim and we were talking, and he's like, we could write a book about traveling with dogs, and we could incorporate some of the training that is needed to make your dog a traveling companion that you would enjoy traveling with.
Right.
And so how the idea was born. And actually, Jim dictated most of the book on our way, because of Montana, we live in Arizona, so it was kind of a long
Of course,
drive.
when you're traveling, you're writing the book, right?
Yes, so he actually dictated the book the whole time, while we were driving, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, wifey was driving, and I would come up with the subject. We'd talk about a subject, and like wifey was saying, it really it was painful to watch a lot of people with their animals struggling to have control, or they wanted to have fun with their animals, but they go for the walk and the dogs would bark at everybody, or they would jump out the fence, or they would get loose, or
leave them at home and not take them at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people would run right up to dogs. Can I pet your dogs? And we go, of course. And they go, we had to leave ours because, and you fill in the blank. So we just kind of thought about different subjects and go, how do you get them used to your car, your RV? How do you get them used to the sky kennel? How do you housebreak them?
Right.
And so we would cover a subject, and then we would just...
And of course, had to be edited.
Oh, my goodness.
That was my job.
The funny part is...
Wives are good at editing their husband's work, right?
And it was fine, because it basically, I always said wifey had to turn it into English, because I just talked the subject, and then wifey had to go, nobody understands what that means. I mean,
She could translate for you.
Exactly. And so that's how it got. It took longer for wifey to translate my gibberish it did to dictate the book. But it was quite fun. It was quite fun.
Well, and the other thing is, then of course we had another editor, because English is my second language. So it's like, well, now turn it into, hopefully.
I think
English.
that's right. I love it though. No, it's such a valuable resource, I think, for people that are traveling. And I'm so glad you put this together and came up with the brainchild and the effort to do. It's one thing to come up with the idea, but to actually do it and put it to paper and get it edited and printed and all that good stuff and out to the public, so that we can benefit from all of your knowledge. I think that's fantastic, because so many people, myself included, want to travel with our dogs, or we won't go anywhere unless we can take our dog, that kind of thing, right? So it's really important. Our dogs are family, and anything we can do to make it less stressful for them, obviously less stressful and easier for everybody involved, is great. Hi, Skyla. Hi, Amy. Thanks so much for being with us today. It's great to have you here. So I just have a quick question about we don't have to cover all the topics in the book, but can you kind of give a general idea of what the contents are in the book? So for people that want to know kind of what general topics you cover.
Yeah, so one of the things, and just kind of maybe set it up, is one of the things that we thought about is there's a lot of people that when they think about traveling with dogs, they think about researching dog-friendly things. And there are lots of resources out there, like apps and websites that
Mhm.
that cater to that idea. But that was not what we were seeing. It's not about just knowing that you can go to a dog-friendly hotel. It's
Right.
that you need a dog that actually enjoys traveling with you and
Mhm.
is not so stressed out that he will eat the hotel door or rip
Yeah.
up
Right.
the carpet in the hotel when you go out
Right.
to a restaurant without him. And
Right.
that was really the premise for the book, that we
Okay.
wanted people to understand. As humans, oftentimes we're like, okay, I want my dog with me, so dog in the car,
Yeah,
off we
let's go.
go, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
There
Right.
is so much about it. And so the way that we eventually edited the book was we made 2 parts.
Okay.
And the first part is kind of designed to say whether or not you're already traveling with your dog or have adventures with your dog or not. Here are some basic skills any dog should know that will make traveling with your dog, one, much more comfortable for you, but also much more comfortable for the dog. And so
Yeah.
those are the
Yeah.
what we consider the basic exercises. Loose leash walking for one. That sounded funny, but loose leash walking for one is
Say
one
that
of
4 times quick.
Yes.
like the number one chapter, because we just find that was the number one thing people were telling us. They were like,
Okay.
I don't take my dog because it's just no fun. He
Pull,
drags
Right.
me everywhere. He pulls me.
Right.
It's, you know,
Right.
we're out at a whatever. I just don't
Right.
have any fun with it. So
Right.
that's one of the first things that we think. As dog trainers, we also understand that loose leash walking is a communication between dog and
Mhm.
dog owners.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
the relationship changes when the dog follows the human versus the human
Right.
following the dog.
Right.
So that was one of the first exercises. There are exercises that are meant to say, okay, it's going to make traveling a much easier, but there are exercises that are like, here's how your dog is going to be safe and comfortable.
Mhm.
One of them that is very, very big for us, and Jim loves to teach people, is respect open doors and never ever run through an open door. And that is a hotel room door, that is your car door, that would be your
Right.
RV door, that would be
Right.
an open gate at a dog park, because
Okay.
that's the number one thing that happens with
Mhm.
people on the road is
They'll
they'll lose their
their
dog. And now your
Yeah.
Yeah.
dog is in it's not
In a
even at
strange
home,
environment.
so he
Yeah.
can't even
Right.
run home,
Right.
right?
Right.
There is no home.
Right.
Yeah, so that was one of the big ones. Being comfortable with uncomfortable situations. People don't think
Mhm.
about that. But when you travel, we took
Mhm.
our dogs to Seattle. One of my favorite stories in the book is we went to Pike's Market in Seattle.
Yeah.
Very, very busy. You know, people right by you. I mean, this was
Mhm.
obviously many years ago before COVID, but
Right.
people pushing against
Yeah, you
you.
were
And
Right.
I
yeah.
have a 100-pound dog on the leash, and Jim is holding our little Heidi
So
Jack
she didn't get
Russell.
stepped on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, there are things that people don't think about. You know, we
Yeah.
in a recent video we did, Apollo had to go up steps that you can see through.
Oh,
You
right,
know,
right.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, right.
those are some things to consider, because if your dog is a 100-pound dog, you may not be able to carry him up those steps, right?
Right.
Right.
Heidi is easily
Right.
picked up and carried up the
Right.
steps. So
Right.
the
Right.
second part of the book is all about being on the road and what are different types of travel, and just expanding it into, you know, more of the world travel, and all of things that you could be doing when you're on the road.
Planes,
That's
trains, and
fantastic.
automobiles.
I love it. That's great. That's great.
Well,
and it's
I know.
basically some. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It's basically just ideas that people might not think of when they start traveling. You know, for
Right.
instance, on my side, it was more of getting the animal comfortable in the vehicle.
Right.
Where when you leave them in the RV or the car, they don't panic. Their mindset is, this is another home. It's okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
A lot of times in the RV parks, you would hear dogs barking, and the neighbor will complain because the dog is barking, because
Yeah.
That's cool. Someone's barking.
That's mine.
just like that. Or the
Like,
neighbors
dog
complain.
barking, I can do that.
Exactly. The neighbors complain, and it's basically the dog is, where am I and where are my humans? You know,
Right.
if
Yeah.
the dog
Right.
considers it home, they just like, they went out to party and I have to hang out here until they get back. And it's, you want them to be comfortable in the hotel room, because, you know, we've all been there. You've go into a hotel room and you can tell a dog has been there.
Mhm.
You know, well, that's why hotels don't want dogs, because they eat the furniture. I mean, we went into one time, the dog had eaten through the bathroom door, you know.
Wow.
first of all, you shouldn't have to put your dog in the bathroom. You know, the whole hotel room should be comfortable to the dog. You know, but anyway, it's tips like that people look at and go, I need to work on that because we travel in hotel rooms
or vacation rentals.
We've done vacation rentals, and you don't want to leave a mark when you go hiking out the woods. You know, leave no trace. You know?
Right.
When you leave, you don't want them to know you had a dog. You know.
Right.
Anyway, that's what the premise is. You know, some people go, oh, my dog's perfect at that, and then they look at another one and go, that one I need to work on, and then wifey would put exercises in there to help you with that particular subject, so people could get comfortable with that.
Right. Well, that's one of the things that I love. I know for me, when we first had our dogs, our first couple of dogs, the idea in your head about traveling with them is different than like you're thinking all of these amazing, wonderful, magical, we're going to go to the beach, we're going to do this, that, and the other. And then the reality is like the stress is up to here because they're in a brand new environment. They're getting, you know, all kinds of different exposure that they've never been around before. And so everybody's stress level is a little bit higher. So I love the fact that it has these really practical exercises in here on things to work first. Like you might have to, oh boy, now I know I'm going to need to kind of work on some of these things. But your book really does have great exercises to get those things down pat. So then the travel will actually be enjoyable, you know, and you can feel comfortable and your pups can feel comfortable. So it was,
and it does make traveling fun. You know, if you go to a spot and your energy is more calm, going, okay, my dog is a little bit panicked, but he can trust me. You know, that comes from the dog trainer part is, you know, somebody has to be the anchor, you know, so if the dog can look to you and say, well, you're chilled, so I guess I'll chill, you know, that type of stuff.
Right.
Well, and practicing it around your home first, like getting those things down pat so that you feel like, okay, I'm in control of this situation. I know we can handle it. Whereas if you're out in a brand new environment where it's, you know, that huge, big crowd and stuff like that, it's, you know, it's nerve wracking for everyone. Your dog's going to pick up on it. It's going to make it worse. You know, it's going to kind of like escalate the situation. So
it does.
Yeah, or even when you're on the road already, and that's the one I guess message I do want to send out is sometimes people go, well, I'm already traveling with my dogs, and of course, you know, we travel in an RV now because it's just a perfect way to travel with a dog. But you can still do a lot of these exercises on the road. It's just you have to remove yourself from the daily, hey, we're going to go see this, to, hey, today I'm going to go to the quiet corner in the park and I'm going to work on this skill.
Right. And it only takes like 20 minutes, right? I mean, it's not like it's an all day thing. You just, you know, consistently for a few minutes every day, and until, you know, the communication between the two of you gets really solid, right? And good.
And the human has to understand what they're looking for too. Like wifey was saying, my biggest thing is running through an open door, because I look at it as a safety feature. If your dog runs, once he's out of that RV, how many dogs say I'm free? And so the safety part of it is keep them in the RV, the car. When you open the car to let the kids out, kids leave car doors open. That's what they do. They leave house doors open. So they fling the door open.
Husbands sometimes leave car doors open.
So the dog needs to sit there and say, well, can I come out? Instead of going, door open, I'm out, you know, because we just talked to a person that had to spend the night in a strange area in, I don't remember where it was, because the dog had gotten out of the gas
freeway in the rest station.
Yeah. And there were people looking for him. The dog had nowhere, you know, they got out of the car and got lost, and they had to spend the night while they looked. I mean, God bless them that they stayed.
And they found the dog.
They found the dog. It was a cattle dog, and they found some cattle, and the dog found the cattle. So they said,
big smelly things that are a lot more interesting than whatever's in the car.
Exactly. So anyway, it's things like that work real well.
Yeah. Megan, Amy, thanks. And thanks for being here. Amy has got a question. Does your book have recommendations for things to do with your dog while you're on the road?
Yes. And so that is the second part of our book. Like I said, you know, the first part is kind of get the things done. Foundation. And the second part is, you know, here are things that you can do. But again, you know, we wanted it to be more general. It's not about here are dog friendly places to visit, because again, there are lots and lots of resources for that, and they constantly are changing, you know, so we wanted to create a book that just says, if you go to the farmer's market, here's
Right.
something, or
Right.
so that was our main focus. We do have, and if I can kind of elaborate a little bit,
Yeah,
we do have
sure.
additional resources. So from the book, it sort of exploded with all kinds of other ideas. So on Facebook, we have several Facebook groups that do exactly that. So I have Arizona
Right.
Dog Friendly, Oregon Dog Friendly, we have California Dog Friendly. And we have Keep Your Paws on the Road. And those are Facebook groups where we actually ask the local people or people that have traveled to those sites to tell us, hey, where was a great place to walk your
Where's a
Yeah.
good
dog?
restaurant?
Where was a good
Yeah.
restaurant?
Yeah.
Where was a good, because again, we didn't want to include those in the book because those will always be changing.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, they really do. And so that's a great idea to have a collective resource that's local or who has been to those areas to be able to share their experiences. And sometimes it's something that isn't found on, some of those websites or some of those hotel guides or whatever. It's something you just kind of stumble across as a traveler and find, a mom and pop shop or a mom and pop cafe or someplace
Exactly.
that allows
Exactly.
Some of
your
the funnest
pups.
spots are like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And another thing in the book that we have ideas, like if you were going to go to an amusement park. Okay, well, obviously your dog can't go into the amusement park. What are some ideas I do with my dog? Well, a lot of places that we've been in California, they'll have a kennel there. So
Okay.
you
Yeah.
take them to the kennel. You know your dog is safe. You might go, oh, it's a kennel. Well, you get to go to the amusement park. Your dog is safe. I mean, we would take our dog, we put them in the kennel. You bring your own lock, and they're hanging out together. You go have fun, and when you get finished, your dogs are there. They're safe.
Right,
They're ready to go
right.
home and say.
Right.
So just ideas like that about when you go to somewhere that's not dog friendly, but you still want to
Right.
go.
Right.
And there's two parts of that too, which again is the thing of putting your dog into a kennel.
Mhm.
But there's also, is your dog comfortable being in a kennel?
Right.
Right.
So
Right.
here is, and so in our book, in the first part of the book, we talk about how important it is to crate train your dog, because
Right.
you may never put your dog in a crate, but now you're in
At a
this
friend's
vacation
house.
rental
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they require that the dog is in a
Right.
crate, right?
Right.
So there are
Right.
certain skills
Yeah.
people don't think about, and you
Mhm.
cannot teach this stuff on the whim. Now I
Mhm.
want to go to
Right.
Disneyland and I'm going to put my dog in a crate. He's never been in a crate before, right?
Right. Right. No, I think that's great. That's wonderful. It's so important. Do
It
you
is. And
have
the main thing? Sorry.
no, do you have key exercises? So I think we were talking about leash pulling was one of them. The open door was the other one. Are there one or two others that you can share with us that are, kind of some of those basic ones that?
Oh, a very big one. Potty on command. That one is very important. Besides the safety, potty on command is so nice.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
People don't think about it. They think,
Yeah.
it's one of our first things that we recommend to people when we do one-on-one training with them. And they're like, big deal. No, when you travel with the dog and
Right.
you get, because again, and here's the situation and why it's so important is when you're just traveling and you're at the
Mhm.
side of the freeway and there's nowhere to walk your dog.
Mhm.
And the dog kind of goes,
Right.
I don't like it here. I don't want to do
Right.
my business. When you
Right.
have taught your dog to potty on command, I mean, I can take Apollo out, I put him on the ground, I say, do your biz. He empties
Right.
his bladder, he does what he needs to do. And then
Right.
sometimes it's maybe back into the car because there is no place to
Right.
walk the dog.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
very, very important exercise.
We brag about that a lot with our dogs because it's such a convenient thing when you're traveling,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
you also have to teach them how to potty on command on leash. A lot
Yeah.
of people
Yes,
will have
thank you.
yards.
Right.
And they won't
Right.
think about that. Well, now you're on the side of the road. You're not off leashing your dog, and now your dog's looking at you like, "Excuse me, let me go."
And different surfaces, right?
Different surfaces,
Mhm.
exactly. So it's one of our biggest ones that we really like to push in the book because it's such a nice convenience. When you're going to get gas, you're going to eat or something, you don't have to,
Yeah, think about it. You want to go to this great outdoor marketplace. Like I love the farmers markets when we go
Mhm.
traveling. We were just in
Mhm.
Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. They had this beautiful farmers market. Well, prior to understanding a lot of this stuff, I would have just taken my dog there. Now my dog pees and goes wherever I'm in the farmer's market, rather
Right.
than saying, okay, I'm going to go first to this little grassy area,
Right.
ask
Right.
him, do your biz, So
Right.
now I know he's done. Now I can
Right.
concentrate on what I want to do.
Not worrying about,
Right.
is he going to pee?
You know that.
Cleaning
Don't
up
pee
an
on those
accident
flowers.
somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a nice, comfortable thing. Again, it's just like you were talking about the energy. All of a sudden, when you know your dog doesn't need to go to the bathroom, your energy starts to relax and you start to able to enjoy the farmer's market now with not
Yeah.
worrying about what your dog's doing. Did he just, something like that. So,
Crate training, we also
Mm.
were just saying, but we think it's a big one. And again, it's one of those things where people think, well, I'm never going to use it. I'm not going to
Right.
teach it. It's like, no,
Right.
even for people that never travel with their dogs, as dog trainers, we would say crate training is a very important skill, because if your dog would ever become ill, needs to recover from surgery, you don't want to add the stress of, I don't want to be in this
Right.
confined space, to
Right.
wanting your dog to heal or recover. So,
Right.
make sure that he's comfortable.
Yeah, and I've heard of situations where somebody gets into a car accident with their dog, and the person might be unconscious, and the first responders are there to care for the dog and put them in a crate, right, to make sure they're safe and taken care of. And the dog is scared to death, obviously, of what had just happened, but also now scared to death to go into a crate, right? And so if they become aggressive because of their fear, then the first responder is now trying to deal with a dog that's,
Yep.
might bite them
And
or run away or
Yep.
whatever. Right. And so it does help make sure that your dog is going to be as cared for when you can't care for them, right? If they're put into that situation.
Patty, I'm going to steal that. I'm going to steal that. I'm going to put that in. We're working on a second edition.
Yeah,
That
really.
I had not thought of that. And that is
I'd
such a
heard that, and
powerful way.
it was, and there were like 3 or 4 people that were trying to get this poor dog into the crate, so the dog doesn't run away, or the owner doesn't lose their dog after this terrible accident. And it was a really big ordeal, just to try and get the poor dog, into a safe place, and and very scary for everybody, involved. So crate training is really important lesson to learn for pups. But
So the other one is, of course, the recall, and the recall is something that a lot of people don't think, they're like,
or it's inconsistent, right?
I'm never gonna,
sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't,
Exactly.
Or people say, well, it's not that great, but I'm going to keep my dog on a leash. Well, but it's not for those times when your dog is on a leash. It's for the time that the dog slips
through the door.
It slips through the door, or the leash comes out of your hand, or the collar breaks, right? Or somebody opens the gate to the dog park and lets your dog run out, which I've seen so many times, where you're in the middle of nowhere and somebody comes in with their dog and there's 5 other dogs and your dog just goes and so that would be another big one.
I had a time we took our dog to a dog beach in California where it was off leash because it was a dog friendly beach, and our dog had only been to the beach twice before, and this was a dog friendly beach where it was off leash. The other dog beaches were on leash. So I took the leash off of our dog. It was a beagle. So obviously nose and a scent focused dog. And she just had the best time and started taking off, running down the beach. Well, I didn't want, after a while she got so far enough away. I'm like, okay, I need you to come back. And then I'm chasing her and she's running down the beach, and there was 0 recall whatsoever because she was just like, this is fun.
Mom's following me, so we'll just keep going.
It was a game. It was a game. Let's play chase. So if I could have had recall at that moment, it would have been less humiliating. It would have been a lot more enjoyable for me. Not more enjoyable for Daisy. I think she would have just kept running if she had the choice. But it's nice even when they're not in harm's way, to even just kind of create like a little boundary of perimeter where you feel like it's you can have control of your dog, and so that would have been.
One of the other things that comes with that is one of the things that Jim likes to teach people, which maybe not a lot of dog trainers really talk about. I mean, every dog trainer I think would love to communicate this to people, but the safest place is with you. And that is something that not every dog owner has taught their dog, so when a dog gets hurt, what we do is the dog never, ever gets into trouble when he comes to us. And so the dog learns the safest place is with mom or dad. And so when, when there's a bee sting, or a dog gets hit by a car, there is that fight or flight that happens. And so if your dog has learned the safest places with you, the dog will come back to you.
Because they expect you to fix it.
Because they'll expect you to fix it. Whereas when they haven't learned that, they will more than likely run away because they'll want to hide, they want to get away, right? So that is one of the biggest skills, and people don't really think about it. And it's not that hard to teach, but people oftentimes never even think about doing it.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. Yeah. And I know from dealing with dogs that have been in pain before from illnesses and stuff, or old age and arthritis and whatever, I've seen them where they're in so much pain, they want to run away. And so, that's an excellent point to be able to ensure that they know that you're the safe place.
You're
right?
the spot.
Yeah. That's great.
And, we have a Jack Russell. She gets a thorn and, she'll be running out here and she'll get a thorn. I mean, she just did it yesterday. She, pulls up a 3-legged paw and she comes bouncing back to us because she knows we'll take care of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good.
So we also have a question statement from Megan. She says, I have heard of lots of different techniques on training. I'm currently trying out game-based training. So if you have any ideas on that.
Yeah. Well, training is, you want to make it fun and positive because this is just very general, but most dogs love the fun and positive, and they do things for the positive. They can do it. Like most dogs, you can do the positive with a scratch in the butt or a rub on the head. Like our dogs are positive. They know that if they come back, they get a butt scratch or a rub ear or something. So it's a positive thing. Games it's the same thing. So when you reward them with a game, like sometimes they'll do puzzles. The treats on the end of the puzzle, so they have to figure out the puzzle. It's a great mind game because with our training, we teach the mental stimulation is what you're really focusing on. When people say, I have to take my dog for a 2-hour run, what you've done is you've conditioned your dog now to run for 2 hours. So now you got to run 2.5 hours to tire him out.
Right.
If you do mental stimulation, you can do a puzzle and at 15 minutes of that, and they're like, I need a break. And, we tell our clients when we first start their training, we'll do a 1-hour class and your dog will sleep all day when you get done.
Oh yeah.
That's just mental stimulation.
I think the other thing that I love about the game-based training is that it gives the dog something, and that is when we come back to traveling with dogs. I think one thing that people oftentimes forget is that the dog has to enjoy the travel as much as the people. And oftentimes when we travel with our dogs, we just kind of think, oh, they're going to be a nice travel companion. They're going to be by my side when I see the sights, when I do this, when I do that. But there are often, and I'll give you an example right now where we're at in Albuquerque at the Balloon Fiesta here. It's not very dog friendly where we're camped because it's rally parking. So there really isn't a lot of fun stuff to do for the dogs here. So we choose to every day include something that will be fun for the dogs, right? Because we do that mental stimulation, because when we do go see the balloons where they're not allowed, then the dogs will have to stay here in the RV.
Right.
And so if you never give them anything to do, they're going to get bored, and that's where you get behavior issues, right? That's where you get the barking dogs. That's where you get, they'll tear up your furniture or your blinds or your doors, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it's important to keep them in mind. No, it's important to keep them in mind as travel companions and look for things that they would enjoy, right?
Yeah. And so to go back to the training technique, we personally don't prescribe to one training technique. Jim has trained dogs for over 40 years because different things work for different dogs and different things work for different people. So it's important to find out, and that's when Patty just said, find something that works for your dog and your dog enjoys. So that
and the human has to enjoy it too, because the main thing is you want the human to participate. If we say take your dog to agility and teach your dog agility, well, maybe the person doesn't want to drive, or so find something that the human says, well, I don't want to go to agility, but I'll do frisbees.
Right.
Yeah.
So if that's a type of training that clicks with the human and the dog, stay with it. Absolutely. Because the participation sending your dog off to training is one way, but you want the team, the human and
Dream
the dog.
team.
Exactly. You want the team. So if you get the human involved and they're excited about it, it's like, hey, let's go play Frisbee. The dog's all over it. So
Yeah.
absolutely. Good
This is
stuff.
Well, and it's something that you can be calm with. Like whatever's going to work well for the human means that your calmness is going to
Exactly.
be able to transfer over
confidence.
to your pup.
Exactly.
So if it was something like, okay, I wouldn't probably go and do this crazy competitive agility, like that wouldn't be in my personality necessarily. That means when I'm there, I'm going to be transferring that energy to my dog, and they're going to think, why are we here? This is crazy. What are we doing?
You don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever.
And again, and that's kind of coming back to what we said earlier, is a lot of times we find people with hyper breeds, like there's so many doodles right now, right? All these poodle breeds or labs. And when we talk to them and the dog has behavior issues, they're like, well, I run him every day and I'll bike with him. And then you kind of go, okay, wait a minute. So you have a hyper dog and you're making hyper, and they're thinking, oh, I'm just going to tire him out. No, you're just
conditioning your dog to run further.
Yeah, you're conditioning your dog to become an athlete, and you can't keep up, right? You're not keeping up. So let's take a look at your lifestyle and bring it back to where you both enjoy it.
Yeah,
I love that.
The game training is a good thing because it's usually, like we like to do seek and find. I mean, I remember doing that as a kid. You hide something in your house because a lot of the training, being in Arizona in the summertime, you just don't go jogging in the summer.
Yeah.
Right.
So a fun little exercise is hide something in your house, put your dog on a stay, hide something in your house and say, go find it. And your dog, you won't find a more happy dog trying to find that toy. And you're sitting there going, wow.
That was the trick that I came up because we have Daisy when she's a beagle puppy, just to try and tire out puppies in general. They just have so much energy, right? And usually at the end of the day, because they've slept all day and you're exhausted by the end of the day, but they're all wired now because they've had plenty of sleep. And they chew through toys, or go through whatever, just super fast. So I'm like, what could I do that's going to last more than 30 seconds that a chew toy would do? And so I was like, well, if she's a scent hound, let me just I just broke up treats into the smallest little spot bits. And then I put them around spots of the house that were low enough. I didn't want her climbing on things to get up to try and find them. And I put 5 or 6 around the house as I had her in a stay, in the kitchen or whatever, where she couldn't see. And then I tell her to go find them, and she'd find all 5 or 6 of them in like 5 minutes, but she kept looking for another 15. So, it was like, I could at least it's almost like telling your kids to go watch TV for a few minutes so I could go and do this one thing. Whenever I need a 15-minute break, that's exactly what I would do. And she loved it. Just the mental stimulation and trying to find it. It was just, she was really into it. She just loved that game. So yeah, it's I think games, and any kind of mental stimulation really is important for dogs. It's good.
Yeah. And if the humans involved, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys have a blog and a podcast. There's a bunch of other stuff. Tell us a little bit about, your podcast or blog if people want to learn more information about what you do and hear some great stories. I love all the stories we've been sharing today. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, we have a YouTube channel called Modern Canine Vlog. And there we have a number of things. We share our dog-friendly adventures so people can see us hiking in certain areas or taking the dogs, on an e-bike ride was one of the things we recently did.
I just recently watched that one.
But and we also share like product reviews. We share dog training tips there. We have a podcast that kind of came about from a series that we did on YouTube called People with Passion for Pets, where we interview people that have created a lifestyle, a product, a service, or a business out of the love for their dogs. Okay. And we had pleasure to meet some amazing people. We share it on YouTube, and we just started our podcast because when we were listening to it, we're like, this would make a great podcast. So we're like, hey, why not? We'll do a podcast too. And the podcast called People with Passion for Pets.
Okay.
And it's basically on all the podcast networks
Wonderful.
and available also from our website. So if you're not sure where to
Okay.
find it, go to mcs.dog is our website. And we
Okay.
have links to our blog. We have links to our YouTube channel, links to our Facebook groups, links to the new podcast. So that's all there. So yeah, we just love it. It's kind of became this big thing.
Yeah, we kind of have an idea of what you're talking about because we love chatting with people that love dogs. So yeah, we're definitely like-minded in the same field of doing that, of sharing all that information, because it's just so much fun. You do get to meet just amazing, wonderful people, and they all adore and love and are devoted to pups, which is great. You know, just as passionate about pets and pups as we are, which is wonderful. So if somebody wants a copy of the book, I noticed on your website you can send an email they can email you, right?
The easiest, honestly, I'm going to say the easiest way, because we travel so much, is to go on to Amazon. The book is available as an ebook and as a paperback through Amazon.
This is the book again.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Now, the email on this is in regards to if people wanted to, let's say a pet store wanted to carry a book and they wanted to get like wholesale pricing on it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. Perfect. Well, thanks so much. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Amazing.
We could be chatting here all day. I know. This is so much fun. And I know our audience really enjoyed it. And speaking of our wonderful audience, we get to pick a winner who will get to win this amazing book. And that winner, giveaway winner, is Sarah McCullough. So Sarah, congratulations.
Congrats, Sarah.
Congrats, Sarah.
Yay, you're the big winner. So thank you, Sarah, for promoting today's show. We'll get your contact information and we'll get the book out to you right away. So thank you again. Thanks so much.
And we'll make sure we'll sign it.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Copy. That's amazing. So Birgit, Jim, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate your time today and sharing all your love and tips and techniques for helping us travel better with our pups. So thanks again. I appreciate it. This is
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.